What's up? This is View from Legacy View Combo Series. And if you've been on YouTube for the last 10 years watching comic book videos, you probably listened to and watched our next guest on Chilling the Green Box. We got the Blerd Without Fear, Ernie, on today to talk about his journey as a YouTuber, writer, and other things, Blerd. So stay tuned, like and subscribe to the video, and you know what? Specks, go ahead and kick it off.
Alright, welcome back to the Hood. This is Specks, Thompson, and The View. And this is another special episode we got today. We have a good YouTuber, comic extraordinaire right here. You might need your lawyer sometimes with him, but today we should be good. Ernie, the Blerd Without Fear. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's happening? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Come on to the Green Box. For people who
I used to sit on those.
Oh, well, that's good. I don't have to do that much explaining when I talk about it. But for people who don't know who you are, explain to them or give them a brief introduction of who you are and what you do.
If you don't know who I am, I'm Blerd Without Fear, Ernie, or I'll answer to either. And I make videos breaking down and reviewing comics, mostly X-Men stuff, but I do from time to time cover stuff from other comics from Marvel, DC, sometimes Image and other imprints. And lately I've become a comic book creator, interviewer on some level to some degree. So yeah, I do all those things, and I guess I can say this: I am also a aspiring comic book writer and artist. So I have a little skin in the game.
Okay. We're gonna dive into that later on because I don't think people know more about that. I want to know about that. Why is it aspiring and not an actual one? But all right, So you already know what Green Box is because you say you should sit on them, so I had to explain it. So my show is based off that same concept because I've been on podcasts, I listen to podcasts, and people get on there 2 hours and blab about their product, and you don't know nothing about them or why to support them. So I developed my show so people know more about the creator and what they do, so people know how to support them besides with that one thing they do. So this show is based off of 4 different segments. My first segment is called Breaking It Down, because while you were sitting on that green box, you're breaking things down with your friends, concepts, ideas, and other things. And right now, I'm going to break your brain down with a couple icebreaker questions so people know more about you. All right. So my first question, you had a family cookout. It could be Thanksgiving or whatever. Your family get kind of rowdy, start, flipping tables and throwing chairs and stuff. What fictional comic book team are you calling to break it up?
Oh man. So for my family, I'm gonna have to. I would definitely have to say, if I'm gonna pick any team, it's gonna be Black Panther and the crew. Largely just because I know it would scare my in-laws. For those who do not know, my wife is white, so it would make the in-laws a little concerned. My family would be like, "Oh, cool," but my in-laws not so much.
Okay. Now, what about for her side?
For her side, I mean, you know what? I'm gonna give her a little bit of credit because most of her immediate family is pretty cool. This is gonna sound nasty, but I'm gonna give her the OG, the 1960s X-Men because it's all white. It's all white.
Beast had a little color to him. He had a little color,
He got some color later. He was good. He was good and white. He was white, like with white.
Just a tangent talking about Beast. Where's he from?
So the thing about Beast, if I remember correctly, Beast, he's about as all American as they come. I don't remember his exact place of origin.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But I remember. Well, I mean, obviously this stuff kind of happened before I was born. But the events after the fact, I've gone back and read, and kind of seeing the moment that he actually changes, it's like, yeah, he was. Heck, I'm not gonna lie. If you go back and read like old '60s X-Men, you'll probably look at a lot of the original X-Men characters really different.
I mean, they already do. Like, I just think about that because I just wait. Well, they know the TV show, but I'm trying to. I just got to follow X, but I was thinking like, the original X-Men, all of them had little issues. But what was Beast's problem? You had Warren. He was the rich kid. Cyclops, the orphan. Jean Grey, the suburban girl. Iceman. He
was the funny boy.
Yeah. He was a little confused.
Yeah. There's a funny story about Iceman. Maybe it'll come up later that I can relay.
Okay.
But Beast that might shed some light on that. But like, if you go back to old '60s X-Men, Beast, it's really weird because like if you look at it with the lens of today, like really all the X-Men had this problem with the exception of Cyclops. But all of them were hitting on Jean the day she showed up. Like all of them were trying to like put like, yeah, even the professor was trying to, which is weird when you consider the fact that, I mean, we didn't know this at the time, but like later you find out he's known her since she was like small child. But yeah, like like Beast was like always like kind of trying to put his arm around, like people always talk about, oh man, Wolverine's always trying to steal Cyclops' girl. Well, like in the original X-Men, it was Beast that was always trying to like put his arm around her. Like I think he even kissed her, not on the lips, but like he kissed her like on the cheek, without even like being like, "Hey, is this cool?" He was just like, "No, I'm just gonna pull up on you." And
it was '60s. It was '60s.
Yeah, it was '60s. It was a different time. Yeah.
All right. We dive into some more X-Men later. Let's keep breaking your brain down. On a bad day, what would be your candy of choice to make it a little bit better?
Ooh, so man, my favorite candy of all time is Sour Punch straws.
Oh, okay.
Specifically the strawberry ones. I mean, I like the other ones too, but
punch?
the Sour Punch straws, those are the ones I love. I love sour candy just in general, but like that's the one that like whenever I go into like a Walgreens or a corner store or like some like candy shop or whatever, it's usually the first thing I go looking for.
All right. Hey, I assume you're around my age. Do you remember the like it was like Warheads, but it was like Gushers? Yeah.
Yes, man. So I thought it was a fever dream until you just brought it up, but I do remember having them, and it was a weird thing, but I loved them.
Yeah.
And I can't explain why, but yeah, any kind of candy that like, it's really weird because like you mentioned Gushers, it's a thing we keep in the house for both myself and my daughter, because we'll literally sit on the couch and just share a bag of Gushers, or even a box of Gushers. Sometimes that does happen, but yeah, sour candy in general, man. If you hand me a pack of Warheads, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Are you a gamer?
Oh yes.
All right. So in your first person shooter, So maybe I'd make a broader question. So in a team game scenario, what role do you pick? You got the healer, you got the scout and all that. What role would you pick?
It's funny. I am typically either like a healer support person because I like to contribute. I like to help the team. I don't like being the focus. I like being the person that like is in the background, like hooking everybody up with buffs or healing people, keeping them alive. Like when I used to play stuff like Final Fantasy 14 or World of Warcraft, I pretty much almost always played a healer of some sort. I would occasionally play tank, but like healer and support classes are what I predominantly play, even in like stuff like Overwatch and whatnot. Like I was always playing like Mercy or Lucio or somebody that had like a healing kind of bend to them.
Okay. See, I'm that now, but if I'm playing with you or some friends, I'll be the healer support. But I like the role, like the infiltrator type, the quick character, like in like a Smite. I play like Apollo.
Okay, yeah.
But like typical games like DC Universe, I'm a nature character. I do the healing because I discovered. I don't know if it was Team Fortress 2 or it was a game back in the day. I can't think of the name of it, but it was like Call of Duty, and it was that, and it had like 100 people on the screen. Not Battlefield, was another one. I want to say Mag.
Yeah, Mag. I remember that.
Yeah, and I realized I can be a healer or somebody who support. I can sit back with a sniper rifle. And I like snipers, so I can sit back, snipe people out. Oh, you fell, and go crawl over to you, get you real quick, go back. I can go back sniping.
And my reasons were kind of selfish after a while. It was because when I played games like more specifically like Overwatch, Final Fantasy 14, it was because you could do like roll queue, and you always got faster games. At least back in the early days, you always if you did like healer or tank, you were guaranteed a game, and you did not have to wait long to get it.
Yeah,
like it was always like practically insta queue. And it's not to say I don't like playing like other roles, but whenever I do play them and would try and do stuff like that, it was always like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna be sitting here for a while waiting for a match. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get good at being a healer. And I mean, I got my complaints every once in a while, but like 99.9% of the time, I feel like I did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, that's the end of that segment. Hopefully people got a good feel who you is. Now I go to my next segment. It's called the back issues. Being a comic book reader, all about the back issues. But for people who don't know, you want to know about a character's origin story, you read their back issues. So this is a segment I can read. Like, for example, you want to know about Daredevil. You read his back issues, find out more about him. So in this segment, we can read your back issues and find out more about your origin story. So with that being said, where are you from and what do you call your hood?
Oh man, so I live in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh yeah,
which is the home of rhythm and blues, the grind city, so to speak. But I just always call it M-Town, just because that's just what everybody I grew up with usually called it. We always called it either M-Town or the M. So. Yeah. But yeah, this is I've lived here all my life pretty much. I have only ever lived outside of Memphis for like a year.
That's like a accent, huh?
No, actually, always. I have always like I've always had like the way I talk is the way I've talked since like I was a kid, pretty much.
Yeah, I heard you in the stream recently talking about the Club Shay Shay episode. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that like so, and the thing is too, like, it's kind of funny to me because when living in Memphis is something I have heard almost my entire life. Like whenever I would talk to people who are also native Memphians, the most common thing I usually get is someone says, "You're not from around here."
But I think it's a side of town thing.
No, it's everywhere. Like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if I'm in like Bartlett, Germantown, Orange.
People, how they talk. Yeah.
Because, yeah. No, 100%.
Because like just talk about rappers wise, DJ Paul and Juicy J don't talk like that.
No.
Yeah.
No. Not like everybody kind of has their dialects and their the slang is different from one part of town to the other. But like. Yeah, universally, no matter who it is or where they're from in Memphis, they all think that I'm from somewhere else. No one believes me when I say I am from here. But when I talk to people who don't live in, like people who live like maybe in Minneapolis or New York or Cali or like, Nevada, anywhere else but here, they're like, yeah, you sound like you're from Memphis. And I'm just like, damn.
See, I get the same thing. I'm in Augusta, Georgia. So
Okay,
people ask me, are you from up north somewhere? Or they can ask me, am I Haitian sometimes? Like, I'm not Haitian. Weird story with that. Now my kids are half Haitian because my girl, she's Haitian, so I guess now I'm blood in now. But
you in like that's it.
Yeah,
you are officially Haitian.
I had same things like, you're not from here. You're not from Augusta. But I was like, I am, but I go outside the city and like, you talk country as hell. Like, what's going on? Wait, I thought country. Or I even got that I talk really, really fast as well. I got that too. And I was like, wow, man, I thought pretty good, but yeah, but
everyone has a different perception, like how you sound to yourself, how you perceive yourself. Everyone always has like this, like, oh no, you sound like this, and it's like that's not how I sound.
How okay? I know about music wise, but how's the nerd culture in Memphis?
So it is something I feel it's been growing for a long time. We have a pretty, I don't want to say rich because it makes it sound like, it's so much more than what it is. I think we have a decent nerd culture here. We have conventions like Mid-South Con, which is probably more in the direction of like tabletop gaming and fantasy. But we also have like Memphis Comics Expo and Memphis Comics and Fantasy, which are both like really kind of diverse comic, fantasy, tabletop gaming, video games, anime. We also have Anime Blues Con, now that I mentioned that one too, which kind of is a, as you might imagine, it's about anime, but it's also about other stuff too. But it's predominantly anime. But we have like I feel like the people are there. They just don't know how to talk to each other or organize. It's not as organized as it probably could be. But I know we have lots of nerds because I see them everywhere. And whenever those events come around. But beyond that, we're more of a I feel like the by comparison, the music culture of it and the sports culture of it are infinitely bigger by comparison.
Okay. Speaking of music and being in Memphis, what song or artist or got you like in a certain genre in music?
It's funny. I can always kind of, I'm all over the place when it comes to music. I know people always say, oh, everything from ABBA to ZZ Top, to cover the whole A to Z thing. Yeah. But that would actually be true for me. I listen to a lot of stuff. I could just as easily be listening to 8 Ball at MJG 1 second and be listening to like Disturbed or David Bowie or maybe even like some old Boys to Men the next. Like it just I'm very all over the place. But one of the things that was very I would say influential on me coming up was Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh yeah?
So yeah, I listened to them so much that it was probably unhealthy. And then like by the time that like I was really deep off into them, that was when I think 3-6 Mafia started becoming more of a thing here. And then that kind of became like the thing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. So how you from there and you like Bone with us? 3-6 Mafia should have like evaporated that.
Oh, well no, that was the thing. So like when I discovered Bone Thug here, 3-6 was a thing, but I was too young to really know like who and what they were, like through the channels they normally would have like gotten to other people. It wasn't until I got out of I think I was in high school when like 3-6 became like a bigger fixture here.
Talking about
Like
Oscar?
they became, yeah, or, not even then. Just like it was. I'm trying to think of the precise exact moment, but I can definitely tell you that because if I remember correctly, I know one of the members of the 3-6 used to work at one of the local record stores here in Memphis. And that was one way that I kind of started to discover who they were. And then like you would just get like you would get random mixtapes and random there was always somebody that had like a random tape of some sort. And that's how like it was when that happened. That is when Bone kind of fell off. But they're good now because they totally did a concert here together not that long ago.
Oh, both of them. Said 3-6 and Bone Thugs together.
Yeah, together.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
And it was a ridiculously large turnout too.
I bet. Yeah, I bet.
But it was Bone Thugs and Harmony, 3-6 Mafia, and I think the Yin Yang Twins were there as well. So it was a lot. And so it was actually because of the timing of it, it was actually a fair bit before I think we lost Gangsta Boo. But I did get to see her one last time before she passed. So
that's what's
I was excited.
That's cool. Now going to the comics, what comic book or comic related TV show got you into comics?
So back in the day, and I actually started reading comics very, 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 very young. My mother got me a subscription to, and this is going to show a little bit of age, but used to be able to get comics in the mail. So my mom got me the subscription where I would get like every month or whenever they would come out or whatever. I would get a random whatever issue of Batman had come out that week or month, whatever issue of Superman had come out that week or month. I would get it in the mail, and it was how I kind of learned how to read.
That's not the first time I heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Not the first
time.
I
This
heard
is
that.
it was very instrumental. It was very instrumental, and then I just kind of gravitated just further and further into it because I love to read. So and it was great because I felt like as a result of comic book writers back then, they used a lot of like flashy words, a lot of crazy concepts. So like my vocabulary as a child was a lot better than other kids that were my age when I was in school. So yeah, it was good. It was something that it has stuck with me ever since.
Yeah, you have a similar story to a lot of people because they said because of that. So you read Fantastic Four and Reed Richards say some crazy word. You're like, I don't know, man. I don't know that word. And you go to a dictionary and look it up. Now you're familiar with that word. Because comic books use a lot of words that people don't speak normally. So when you read
they're not common.
Yeah. You read it and you pick up on it.
I had an argument with a kid in this was like probably 5th grade. It was like 5th grade or so. And it was a lunchroom table argument because even as a kid, I was drawing back then, and I loved comics so much. I wanted to be a comic book writer and artist, and I had made my own. It was terrible. Just putting that out there. I made a little comic, and I was showing it to a friend of mine because he was also interested in comics and was also kind of doing something similar. And he was reading. He was like, "You spelled remains wrong," and I was like, "Huh?" I was like, I don't remember putting the word remains in my comic. And when I went back and he showed me, he's like, yeah, right here. He said, you spelled it wrong. There's not a T in remains. And I was like, that's remnants.
Wow.
And he was like, that's not a word. And I was like, yeah, it is. So like we argued about this at the lunchroom table. And then we got back to the class. I raised my hand and asked the teacher. And I said, I think my teacher was Miss Keller at the time. I was like, Miss Keller, I was like, can you look up if the word remnants is real in the dictionary? And she did. And I felt bad after the fact because I feel like I blew up dude spot, but like it showed that he wasn't as bright as he thought he was. But like that's the kind of kid I was. I was like, no, I read all these comics, so I knew. I knew a lot of these things that maybe other kids wouldn't have been, words kids wouldn't have been as hip to now, or at least then. Now probably it's a lot easier for a kid to be like, yeah, I know what lugubrious means.
yeah, that's true. Speaking, arguing with kids at lunch table about word choices and grammar and whatnot. When did you find out you was a nerd?
Oh man, early. So here's the thing. As a kid, I liked a lot of things that other kids didn't like. It was like, I remember a time where it was social suicide to tell other kids I liked Power Rangers.
Wow.
Or that I watched things like Jim and the Holograms or Sailor Moon, or I used to like the Care Bears as a kid because I was like, yeah, these guys are cool, they just care a lot. But like a lot of the things I enjoyed were things that other kids weren't particularly crazy about. Even the comic books that I read, like because I was always reading like X-Men and Superman and Fantastic Four and Hulk and She-Hulk and all that other stuff, and there'd be so many people like, that's stupid. Or like, I'd have my little Marvel trading cards, like, ooh, look at my Marvel trading cards, and then like someone would slap the thing out of my hands, and then I would look like that meme where the kids land on the ground and these fries are all the chicken nuggies are everywhere, and he's just looking up, he's like, ooh,
spaghetti.
I'm like, oh, why'd you knock my DC Comics trading cards unlimited out of my hand? But yeah, I learned pretty quick. Like I was put in my place real fast by other kids my age, and I will say it shaped me in ways that I feel still affect me to this day, because I grew up not liking other kids.
Wow.
Like, because they were mean. And I legit did not want to hang out with kids my age because of how they were. I actually preferred hanging out, like when I was 8, 9, 10, I wanted to hang out with people who were like 15, 16, 17. And that was what I did. I did not like being around kids that were the same age as me, because I was like, y'all are mean, you're terrible, all of you are booger eaters, and I don't want to hang out with you. So I hung out with teenagers. And then when I was a teenager, I hung out with people who were good and grown, paying bills. That's just that, and that is shaped. I'm still that way till this day. A lot of my friends are, today are older than me. So, and I'm 41. So like, all my friends are like either like in their late 40s, early 50s.
No way.
Give or take.
Yeah. I think I was fortunate to be around people with a kind of light-minded minds, but you still was some like, well, you sitting there watching Dragon Ball Z, we're gonna do something else. But as I talk more people, I feel like I was more sociable, so I was able to mingle with the various groups. Talk to Mario Gilly. I don't think I said saying his name. The guy from the Ant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, because he said he got picked on because he was ugly and like that stuff. He said, because I'm not a bad looking guy, I didn't catch that. I was like, I never thought about that. But I was like, you think about it, that's another thing people can throw at you. Oh, you ugly, you nerd stuff. So I was like, man, that's crazy. Like I called it like the glasses thing, and I'm short as well. But I never just oh, he a nerd type stuff. But I mean, everybody's playing video games. Now, type of video games is probably different. Like people playing Madden, and then people playing, I don't know, Digimon Adventures 2.
Oh yeah, no, I was playing Pokemon. I was playing Final Fantasy, Ogre Tactics, whatever. I was playing all kind of silly little, crazy games that people at the honestly, nowadays the shit that I think we like is normal. Yeah. The stuff we like today is like being a nerd is normal. It is not something I feel, but then,
yeah.
Ooh, man, No.
Yeah, I think
it was
my
bad.
I think my generation got saved, or this tangent got blurred because of Toonami. Because Toonami came out. I want to say I was in 3rd grade.
Well,
I remember drawing Goku in 4th for a fact. But I remember the Pokemon stuff being around 3rd grade. I got in trouble for reading a book in class, and that kind of messed my reading up. Reading books for years. I say, man, I got to try to read a book. I'm not reading books no more.
I don't want that.
But it had to be around that time because I'm like Sailor Moon and stuff like that. So it just it was like regular cartoons. So nobody ever labeled it as anime or whatever. We just thought, Cartoon Network, Voltron, and Thundercats and whatever, and whatever that. You got some show called Ronin Warriors pop up. Okay, it's a cartoon. We didn't really see it as an anime type thing too. I don't know when I discovered anime.
I mean, if you really want to be honest, you could probably say, depending on like what you watched growing up as a kid outside of those things, what I like to tell people is that you could count Transformers among those things.
It is anime.
Because because it is. A lot of the older cartoons we watch, a lot of us didn't know at the time. We were watching anime. We just didn't have a word. We didn't have a word for it then. You
know what people don't know is anime, but they love so much?
What's that?
The X-Men TV show we're watching right now. When it first came out.
Oh, yeah. No, it's...
it was made by a Japanese animation company.
Right. No, that's correct. If you go back and look, a lot of the cartoons from the 80s to the 90s, you were watching a lot of cartoons that were by Japanese productions. And if you really think about it, and this is also why I kind of tell people I blur the lines a lot on anime. We actually, I did a live stream yesterday where we're actually talking about this very same thing. But I tell people all the time that I say anime sometimes to people to let people know what I'm talking about. But personally, I don't see anime any different than I do any other animated anything. Because to me, and it's what the word means, it's just a Japanese word for animation. It's not the genre or whatever. And I remember when I was a kid, I used to think that anime is so different. It's like, no, not really. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Like a lot of the same stuff is there. And while it may seem like they're so alien to one another, our animation here in the West was instrumental on informing on the animation in the East. And we've kind of done this.
The Mickey Mouse thing, right?
Yeah, Mickey Mouse, Bambi, all like some the earliest manga artists or mangaka. A lot of it has been a matter of public record that seeing the big eyes on Bambi was kind of the inspiration for why they use big eyes on stuff. And like it's funny because you're seeing this full circle now, where anime kind of borrowed from Western art, and now Western art is borrowing from from Japan. And like I was telling people the other day, like right now, like if you read some of the more recent comics that have been coming out, Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen has appeared in the most recent issue of Nightwing. Miles Morales has been regularly referencing anime, like he literally did a move from Jujutsu Kaisen in the most recent issue of Miles Morales Spider-Man. And Deadpool just recently did a Chainsaw Man reference. He did the whole like Fox Demon thing.
Well, in that case, I think it's the writer. I think the writer did that because he's the same writer.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. well, no, that one was a different one. That was a different one. That's because it's Cody Ziegler on that one.
And he's a Miles too.
Yeah, he's doing Miles as well. Yeah, so he does that a lot. Yeah. He does. he loves anime and manga, and that's not even. And those are just the recent ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was actually because I was doing it for a potential video that I'm working on, but like I've been going back through a lot of older comics up to today. It's just you notice it more now because of the internet. You notice it more now, but like I was looking at some older comics where like, oh yeah, Deadpool's been referencing anime since like the 90s and early aughts.
Yeah.
Before anime was even like super popular.
I don't know which one did it, but a Green Lantern made a mobile suit one time. I don't know which one it was.
That was Kyle Rayner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, he even directly states that like the inspiration, like he specifically says the word manga fan. He's like a manga fan with a Green Lantern ring.
Was it a Gundam or was it Robotech? Robot?
It was a Pat Labor.
Okay.
It was but I mean, to be fair, they're all kind of the same to me. It's all the same. But even then, even after Kyle Rayner, we had one of the more recent Green Lanterns, Joe Mullen, from Far Sector. She constantly.
Yes. She
had a Gundam. She actually, but that's kind of my thing. Like it's the cultures are kind of bleeding into one another, and I think it's great. I think it's great because everybody can kind of see themselves or see the things they love in something somewhere else other than the thing they love.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I mean, I'm here for it.
Cool. Well, that's the end of that segment. Dive into your origin stories and go to my next segment, the meat of the interview. It's called hotkeys. Being in comics, it's double meaning term. In comic books, is when a key issue will be when a new artist, new writer get on board, a key artist get introduced, or nowadays when a storyline becomes a TV show or movie, you want to collect it. As well in music, it's buttons or a song or that DJ or producer can press to get the event live up, get everybody turned up. So this is to get everybody turned up and knowledgeable about you and what you do. So with that being said, what made you start doing your videos explaining characters and storylines and whatnot?
So before I got into doing comic book YouTube, I actually had 2 previous YouTube channels that had nothing to do with comics at all, by any stretch of the imagination. Well, actually, I take that back. One of them kind of did, but it wasn't a focus. I had a YouTube channel that was kind of like a general nerd news thing, like anything that happened in like nerd culture, whether it was a movie, TV show, video game, anime, whatever, I would make a video about it and be like, oh, hey, this is. And yeah, that kind of went for, I think I did it for like a year, and then I ended up just like, all right, this isn't doing anything, I'm done. And then I did a second YouTube channel. It was when I had it was a tabletop gaming podcast.
Okay.
And I wanted to have a YouTube channel to kind of accompany it and have like extra videos and stuff like that. And that actually didn't even last half as long because the podcast was me and another person, and and no shade on them. I was the only person doing anything for the YouTube side of it. And it was a lot of work, a lot of editing, a lot of just trying to make sure I was being incredibly accurate with like the rules of the games that we were talking about and stuff like that. I got really disinterested in it and was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And all the while that was going on, I had been watching stuff like Rob from Comics Explained and Benny Comic Historian, and I think Dopesville was already kind of a thing back then as well. And I kind of went down the rabbit hole of the stuff that they were doing, and I was like, dude, I would really like to do something kind of like that. I wonder if I could do that. And it just so happens all this was in the perfect storm of a moment in my life where I was also in a band, and I was kicked out of that band, and that band was my creative outlet. So that it all kind of was a nice perfect storm. I was like, all right, well, I'm in the band. Oh, now I'm not in the band, and now I need something to channel my my mental and emotional energy into, so that I don't blow up. And it initially started out as just because of the previous 2 channels not really doing well, I just kind of went into this one thinking it's not going to do well. So I didn't even really have any designs on it becoming anything. It just kind of happened. I wasn't trying. I mean, I was, but I wasn't. It wasn't like oh no, this is going to be the one. This is going to be the video that's going to blow up. It was never that. It was just like, I just want to make the best video possible. And then one day I woke up. I think it was when Dark Knight's Metal was a thing. I had been making videos prior to that, but
yeah, I'm about to say, like, you've been up before that.
yeah, I was making videos, but like I was doing videos before that, but like it wasn't. I could literally pinpoint. It was like Dark Knight's Metal number 2 or 3, one of the two. I did a video for it, and I posted the video, went to bed. I think I just posted in the middle of the night because I didn't understand how posting times work.
Algorithms.
Yeah, I wasn't, like I said, and this is why those previous 2 channels failed. But apparently I caught lightning in a bottle, and I woke up the next morning thinking, like, because I was expecting all my videos were usually like, oh, maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 20 views at best. And all of a sudden it was like 16,000 views. And I was like, excuse me? And it just kind of went from there.
That's funny. That's funny. You say Dark Knight Metal was what did it for you. But I remember, so I asked you a different question about that. But I remember looking you up before that. You coming up. I think you had more detailed information on the black characters properly, or
I did.
So it was a trigger. It was something I wasn't getting from Benny and Ron that I came to you. But recently I had the kind of same thing happen on TikTok. I was in Walmart. I made the video about the candy bars being in Walmart. I said, oh, look, they got the Naomi and Jon Stewart and all them on in Walmart. Okay, cool. And Jace Fox. I was like, oh, cool. Posted it. Same thing happened. Woke up, 100-something thousand views on TikTok. I was like, what's going on? And people arguing. Then I started breaking down the characters. So I don't know that much about Naomi, and guess who did? You did. So I took some information from your videos, some information, Wikipedia and whatnot, and blended together, made my own videos. Boom, another 100-something thousand. I'm like, man, this is crazy. So I kept doing it till it pissed it out. But I was like, man, people really want this stuff.
Oh yeah, no, people. The thing is, and there's an appetite for. There's an appetite for black, like, entertainment. Regardless of whether it's like a comic or an anime or a like a video game, people are like, it's a thing that drives a lot of attention. And like, I can specifically point out things that I've done that, like, I can look to why they may or may not have blown up. I can look at, like, when I first started covering the House of X comics, and I can literally point to in my first video I talked about how the parallels between what was going on in House of X with Black Wall Street, and it was kind of a perfect storm for that to happen, because this was also in and around the same time that the world at large was starting to learn more about Black Wall Street because of shows like Watchmen or Lovecraft Country.
Yeah.
And it was in the zeitgeist, so more people were starting to pay attention to that sort of thing. And, that kind of pushed that ball rolling in that direction. You're talking about black superheroes that don't get used very often, and I went down the rabbit hole of talking more about like the old Milestone Media comics from the 90s, and it kind of just so happened it was a perfect storm, because at that time Milestone was in the process of coming back. There was still a good bit of time between when I started and when they did actually come back. But I mean, it was like the rumblings were there, to the point that I I don't want to say this because I don't want it to sound like I'm making a declarative statement, but I would not be surprised, just based on some things especially with the benefit of hindsight, with the way the Milestone Media comics have, the directions they've taken with some of their stories. I honestly would not be surprised if I would somehow at some point later learn that my videos were somehow instrumental in some of the things that they did. Because there's a lot of things that I talked about in my videos that, and who knows, maybe other people talked about it too, but I know specifically for me, things I talked about in my videos, things I said I would like to see or did not want to see, and those things kind of materialized in those newer comics. Because I know for a fact that the people who work at Milestone are familiar with me. I know that for a fact. I have talked to them. But yeah, like everything is timing. Everything is timing. So
I believe you might be right, because I hit up Chris Cross for an interview, and he was aware of me. I was like, huh? Like from the time he read it, I guess I assume he did the same thing you did, research me, But from the time he read my message and to respond back, I was like, he had no time to do that. So I was like, man, like I guess he's hashtags are working. But
I mean, that's all that matters.
Yeah, they have to be looking at social media because like some of the books like hit where it's supposed to hit. I guess I'm not reading too much social media now because they haven't put out a book in about 2 years. But besides that, only thing I probably didn't like about the books, I feel like Static wasn't static. But besides that, I didn't like Hardware at first, but to me, that's one of the best books besides Blood Syndicate. But the only gripe I got at the Static, like I didn't feel like it felt like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. How he was too cool of a Virgil.
Well, I mean, Virgil was cool. I think that's the thing people forget, is that he actually was a cool kid. It's just that at the time that he was a cool kid, the type of cool he wasn't cool. Kind of like how
the nerd stuff cool now, but back then
it's well, and that's kind of the thing. Like now, that type of attitude that because the thing is, Virgil was the type of kid that it wasn't like, and it wasn't that he didn't have friends. He had friends. He had plenty. Like he had more friends in the comic than he did on the cartoon. Like he had a bigger friend circle, and his friends weren't like misfits or like unloved people. Like a lot of his friends were people who did sit at the cool kids table if they had the option to do so. But the thing is, like, being a nerd, liking Dungeons and Dragons and playing Final Fantasy and loving comic books. Back then, that wasn't cool. Like, honestly, by today's standards, Virgil being, if you took that exact same version of Virgil from the original comics still exists in the current ones, it's just that they're not playing up the whole, oh, I'm a nerd and nobody likes me. Added like the whole mentality around that. That's honestly to me, that's like that, and his parents knowing that he is a superhero. That's the only difference.
I feel like he was too brave fighting the dude. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, talking about Hot Streak?
Yeah, I thought he was too brave fighting him. I'm like,
well, you also have to remember too that that's not his first fight.
What you mean, like first like fight or first fight him?
His first fight him with like period. Because
his dad was teaching him.
Yeah, well, his dad was teaching him how to fight, but also at the same time, there is a gap between the first couple of issues of Static and the Milestone Returns one shot. Like he's already technically like he's kind of already technically doing his thing, and it's not to say that he's not afraid, but like I think it's one of those things where you kind of like a lot of the tropes that you would normally apply to comics, or even because even in Milestone, the allegory they made with Static in the first comic was PTSD from being bullied. Like while he was bullied by Hot Streak prior to them getting powers, the bullying wasn't on the same it wasn't on the same level, and they weren't trying to tell, they were, instead of trying to tell a story about being a victim overcoming being bullied, they were more telling a story about a guy who is a victim of being bullied but ain't taking that. That being bullied. That's kind of where I think and that there's that in the whole like the nature of where Virgil is when he gets his powers versus in the newer one versus the other. But it's one of those things that going back and because I read a lot of the older Static stuff more often than not. Like I revisited a lot. But yeah, if you go back and look at it, like outside of that one instance where he gets jumped by Hot Streak and he like panics, he has like a full-on panic attack while he's getting the crap kicked out of him. That's really like the only time something like that happens for him. Yeah.
See, I didn't know there was a gap between the one shot. See, now if I go back and read it, now I probably can feel the gap. I was like, man, he's how you gonna just step into the fire like that? Like, but now I understand now.
Yeah. Well, he knew his powers too. He also he had a better handle on what his abilities were going in versus when he got started in OG Milestone.
Yeah. Okay. That probably helped. I probably got to reread now because I was like, how did he's just highly capable now? Like, okay.
Well, I mean, I would say like if you want to see something kind of similar to that, I would say the most recent. Which was Static Shadows of Dakota. He definitely has a moment like that.
Okay.
With because that's the one that has Ebon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So he has that moment with him.
Okay. All right. Going back to YouTube now. Outside looking in, so your timeline is different from what I'm familiar with you. You say it just happened in death metal. I thought you was going before that, but to me, you seem like probably the second biggest black comic thing. I guess Ron being the first one.
Well, Rob, then Dope Spill, and I don't want to honestly. I've never said word one to this cat on any meaningful level. I am under the impression that New Sage might be black. I'm not 100% certain on that, but
it's AI. No.
I mean, look, man, I don't know anymore, but I could definitely say of the people who I've actually spoken to, what I consider myself. I as far as people, oh man, I don't want to make it sound like I'm being dismissive, but of the people that I personally know, that are in my arena, I would say, yeah, I would count myself among, Rob, because he's the OG, so I mean, I'm always going to put him first. And Dope Spill, because it's Rob kind of paved the way for Dope paved the way for myself.
Okay.
It's like it's like and the funny thing about it too is we all talk. We all talk to each other. So I always found myself in this weird position where someone will be like, "Oh yeah, man, screw Comics Explain. I don't rock with him. I rock with Blerd Without Fear." And it's like, I'm like, dude, we're both friends. Like, I mean, we're not like like, oh my god, let's go hang out on the weekends. But I mean, we talk to each other. We're relatively we're pretty friendly with one another, like we talk outside, like even outside of like doing videos and stuff together, like occasionally. So it's always like I'm always like, oh man, I don't want to break the kayfabe. Hey, all the wrestlers, we're all friends in the locker room.
What makes your channel different from theirs though? So like I get, like you said, oh yeah, people rock with you versus them. Like, what makes you different?
I mean, honestly, to address the elephant in the room, it is what I am willing to cover versus what they aren't.
Okay.
And it's not to say that they're lesser for it. But the first thing and I think Rob would even cop to this. Rob doesn't really dig into political commentary on comics. He did it one time, And the comments busted his head wide open and reminded him his place.
Yeah.
I don't mean to say like, oh, that he is bad for it, but just like, I remember he did a video about, this is when Sam Wilson had first taken over as Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the comments for that video. And I think it was funny because around the time, Rob didn't really show his face very often, if ever. Like, he hadn't showed his face much in a while. So he had a lot of fans. And I know this is probably the case because people did this with me too. Because there was a time where I didn't show myself in my videos. I think he had a bunch of fans who forgot he was black. Or at least half black. I don't want to pretend to know his full heritage, but I know at the very least he is biracial.
Yeah,
at the very least.
Something's in there.
Yeah, I can put it this way. He ain't 100% white, I can tell you that. But no, I remember the comments were like, oh, see, this is... Oh, now you're making it political. All you're doing is, like, there were so many people who were busting his head, and he stopped. If I remember correctly, he stopped covering that comic, and he does not talk about political commentary, really. I think he might have started kind of doing it now, but
I think he does it more on Twitter.
Yeah. He'll do it on Twitter because
video
I have seen it. I have seen it on Twitter.
Yeah.
But like in his videos, you probably won't see it. And Dope Spill is kind of in the same boat. Like, Dope Spill generally just talks about the comic, and that's really about it. I mean, it's not to say he hasn't done any focus on any commentary, but that's the thing I feel like separates me from both of them, is that if there is a moment of political commentary or social commentary or economic commentary, because I am very... and I always feel like people think that this comes from a place of like, I'm just talking out of my ass and I don't know what I'm talking about. It's because I am very, I'm very politically aware. Okay. So I can speak to those things and I can speak about them from an intelligent place, not like I'm just pulling stuff out of the ether or off like QAnon or some 4chan subreddit, whatever. Like, no, these are things that like I've actually looked into, I've read about, looked at both sides of the issue and can see where they meet in the middle, and I can tell you, something that is not just conjecture, your hearsay. And and that's what I pride myself on, because I feel like, comics do a lot of commentary, and if you avoid that commentary, then you're only getting, I don't even think you're getting half the story.
Okay.
And that's why I do it. And it's to my detriment, because I'm pretty sure if I didn't, I probably would be right up there with Rob and Dope. Like, I'd probably have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of subscribers, but because I choose to go the route I go, I'm sure that's a large reason why I am not on those levels.
Yeah. So you okay with that stuff being in the comics? Because I mean, like, I ain't really, I'm catching some of it, but I don't really care for it. Like, it ain't like I'm putting this book down. I see it like what it called me, the superhero team North Star was on.
Alpha Flight, yeah.
No, not Alpha Flight, not North Star. They're twin sisters. They're twins, and one goes real fast.
No, that's Aurora and North Star.
Yeah, so the one on Coca-Cola.
When they're X Factor.
So the X Factor book, that's when I seen it a lot. I was like, man, there's a lot of gay stuff in this book. Like, what's going on here? But like, Kitty Pryde book was had it, because of Bobby and I think Emma Frost's brother, whoever that guy is. I don't know who he is.
Christian Frost.
Yeah.
That was Marauders.
Yeah, Marauders. So it was there, but it was it was mild. Like, okay, yeah, Bobby, yeah, I get it. But in that other book, I'm like, oh my god, like it's like here, see it. It kept making a point, and I was like, man, even brought one of Scarlet Witch's sons, in there, like out of nowhere. Like, oh, he's in the book and he's dating the guy, and he's in the guy's room.
Oh yeah, Wiccan. Yeah, he's always dated guys though.
Yeah, but to put him in the book, like he was no
Mhm.
rhyme or reason, and I don't think he even fought at all in the book. He was just there for the little cameo scene, just for the point. But I don't think he even fought at all.
Wait, which one?
Wiccan.
I mean, it's not his book, so
yeah, I know. I mean,
I would expect it.
So he's there, like he's part of the cast, and he's like vanished. You know, they even put him in a little thing in front of the book, like, oh, you know. I was like, yeah, okay, we'll see him fight, because I don't. Is he on Champions? No, he's not on Champions.
Wiccan?
Yeah.
Wiccan's a young Avenger. Well,
Young
he's
Avenger.
not really. Well, Wiccan's not really anything anymore. He is a because right now Hulkling is the
space,
leader
right?
of the Kree Skrull Empire. So
Yeah.
Wiccan is a part of that regime. So he's not even really on a book right now. But like, if he shows up in anything, it's usually just kind of a
cameo.
Cameo, or it's usually adjacent to something else. Like, because if I remember correctly, that was all when like Empire was going on. So I mean, it would make sense as to why you would have saw him.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that type of stuff, it doesn't bother me. Because
I mean, it didn't bother me either, but it was that was the first time I seen it. It was so like, man, it really trying to put it there.
Well, the way I feel about that though is that like we've had teams that are all white or all male. Or we've even had teams that are all female. And we've had teams that are heck, we have a team that's just all Asian people. The Agents of Atlas. It doesn't really bother me because I mean to look at it for what it is, I would be a liar if I said that the X-Men are a allegory for originally for civil rights. They're an allegory as a whole for marginalized communities in general. And in the last, like, honestly, a lot of people think it's recent, but really in the last like 15, 20 years, they have actually been skewing in the direction of just, marginalized communities regardless of gender, race, like a lot of intersectionality. So like, like a lot of people forget, maybe because nobody read it. But back Alpha Flight, North Star was the first openly gay character in Marvel, and he was an anomaly because he was literally the only gay character on a team full of straights, by and large. A lot of people forget Iceman used to be on the Defenders, and back in the day, he dated a character that was literally an allegory for being trans.
Dang.
There was a character, believe their name was Cloud. And they're still around. They're a character that's still around. You don't see them very often, but they were a character who would flip from being a man to being a woman.
Oh, just like
but it was
Gen V.
Yeah, but it was involuntary.
Oh.
It wasn't something they could control. And at the time, that character was dating both Moondragon, who was one of the earliest openly lesbian characters. And then we're talking like back in the 80s. And at the time, Iceman was still regarded as being heterosexual. And regardless of the fact that Iceman knew that Cloud couldn't control the fact that they changed back and forth between being a male or female, Iceman still wanted to date her. So I mean, so that's why when people say, "Oh, Iceman turned gay out of nowhere," I'm like, did he though? The signs were there. You just couldn't do like the commentary. You're going to see a lot more because you don't have pesky little things like the Comics Code Authority anymore that mandates you can't have gay characters or mandates that you can't depict certain things. I mean, it's a thing. Like honestly, X Factor they really didn't even have. I mean, outside of Prodigy and North Star,
Draken.
You mean Daken? Daken Well, the thing with him is, I mean, he's bisexual, and at the time of X Factor, he was dating Aurora. So I mean, that's whatever. I mean, I feel like just the visibility of it didn't really bother me. I like, honestly, I would have been more. I probably would have noticed it faster if it was a team full of straight people. I'd be like, wow, man, they don't even have like one gay. Damn, man, they just said no. Okay, I guess, but because I mean, we've had that for years. We've literally had teams. We've had X-Men teams and just superhero teams in general, full of straight people. Like I'm talking about, like from the bottom to the top. So having a team
First
where there's
class.
like,
No, Bobby, never mind.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, same. See, like I said, it's like you've had like retroactively, yeah, sure, but I mean, like you go back to like early days X Factor. You go back to early days X. I mean, now X Force has kind of changed a little bit too because a lot of those characters we've learned retroactively. Characters like Richter and Shatterstar. But yeah, you go back and you look and it's like, oh, okay, cool. And then you learn like, oh, well, the original plan was to do this, but we weren't allowed to do this because of the Comics Code Authority. And you go, okay, cool. And just kind of move on from there.
So what made X-Men your area of choice versus any other comic book stories?
Well, two reasons. I'll be 100% transparent. It's because X-Men gets me the most views. It's and that, I mean, it's not the only reason. I mean, it's not like I don't ever want anyone to think that like, oh, I only cover X-Men stuff because money. But also because that was the comic I read the most as a kid. I went back in the 90s, I was reading everything that had an X in it. X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor. Even though I wasn't really terribly crazy about it, I even read Excalibur sometimes. I was never the biggest fan of Alpha Flight. Alpha Flight's one of those things, that's a grown man's book, so when I was a kid, Alpha Flight wasn't as sexy to me. Mm-hmm. But in recent memory, I've gone back and reread Alpha Flight, like early issues of Alpha Flight, and I'm like, man, I kind of wish I did give it a chance, or more of a chance, or I tried to like it more back then, because I was like, damn, this book's actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. It's not as X-Men centric because it's not just about mutants. Like everybody on Alpha Flight is kind of a mixture of a bunch of different things. There are mutants on the team, but yeah, I learned. I was like, oh wow! I was like, Alpha Flight actually had more black mutants on it than X-Men did half the time. There were like 3 black mutants that were like regularly hanging out in Alpha Flight. Goblin and Windshear and I forget the other one's name, like or I think it was Pathway or something like that. But yeah, I was like, they were always just kind of hanging around. There was like 3 of them just chilling. So yeah, I do genuinely love X-Men. It's like X-Men is bar none my favorite team in Marvel. Like overall, like X-Men is the favorite. And it is probably the comic I buy more than any other comic, because I'm always buying you single issues, buying trades, buying omnibus collections, and heck, I probably consume more X-Men media than I do most things. So I mean, it is, while it definitely some of it comes from a monetary and algorithm standpoint, it also comes from a place of passion. So.
Talking about consuming, omnibus and stuff like that. Recent podcasts I listen to, they talk about manga. I always say manga's better than a point they brought up was they always do single issues compared to full volumes manga, and I always say like that's crazy because the show come out now, they're gonna end up buying volume 1 or the volume 20 of that manga from the anime, and it's probably gonna be it. Versus the comic book sales, it's gonna match probably the whole thing. They bought all the volumes, like a brand new issue of Captain America come out today. Mm-hmm. Everybody's gonna buy that with issue 1, and it's gonna sales gonna go up. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna match that volume 1 through 10 of that manga. So I was like, comics is doing pretty good. But the point they brought up is the graphic novels. You know, I never thought about graphic novels, and I think the sales come from people don't buy the graphic novels, and I thought about that's crazy. But what's your thoughts on that? You buy all your books.
I mean, yeah, I do. So for me, the thing that's kind of funny about that whole idea of manga versus American comics, I always find it weird because the thing is, they do like manga does release single issues. It's just not in the way that is exactly the same as American comics. Like they drop a new chapter, and I think that's also too. It's wording. People get caught up in the wording. Because a chapter is an issue. I don't care how you slice it. Chapter is an issue. And every time I read Shonen Jump app and it says, oh, next week, tune in for the next chapter. And it's like, okay, well, that's just another issue. And I will say this, where manga probably does eat American comics lunch is for two reasons. It's two reasons. And it has nothing to do with quality of storytelling. It's because we get, imagine if you lived in another country and that country doesn't, maybe they have the same thing like they have their own comics, but they get American comics too.
Oh, let's say Nigeria.
Yeah, there you go. Bam. But what if Nigeria only got the best, the absolute cream of the crop? Let's say they only got the best Spider-Man comics. They only got the best X-Men comics. They only got the best Batman comics. Like, they're not getting, like, the little panty-anty whatever in between stuff. They're getting, like, the stories that have been tried and true and tested, like the most popular stuff. That's kind of what we have. We don't get every anime and manga over here. Not usually. I mean, it's becoming more that way now. And I think people are finally starting to see the cracks in anime and manga that I've been trying to tell people have existed for decades. Like how, because I remember the most common thing people say is, oh, manga, they don't tell the same story over and over and over and over and over again. Now that everybody's getting like 20 isekais a month and 20 Jujutsu Kaisens a month, now people are starting to see, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, these stories are kind of samey. And it's because at the end of the day, it all falls back to the hero's journey. Every storyteller uses it. And it's easy to say that, like, oh man, this. That's the other thing. Oh, the comics never end. Meanwhile, One Piece is sitting over here at over 1,000 issues, not even close to being done yet. I always find stuff like that funny. The other thing too is that manga is more affordable. When you think about like, I don't have it right next to me right now, but one of the manga I'm reading is Go Go Loser Ranger. Those manga volumes usually have about 10 issues in it a piece for like maybe $8 or $10, and that's pretty damn gangster. Because when you think about like a Marvel or DC trade, you're gonna pay
$30.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you only pay 20, you're only getting like maybe 5 issues, maybe 6, and that's it. And I think that's where American comics need to get better. Is like, if like, I guarantee you, the argument would probably go away if whenever you went to the store and you bought a Black Panther trade and it was like 10 issues as opposed to like 4 or 5, or you bought like a Wonder Woman trade and it was like 10 issues as opposed to 4 or 5. I think people's and for the same price as what you would get for a manga. Well, to be fair, manga are also smaller, so they can kind of get away with that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they made those, if American comics shifted to a manga format, then it would just be like, well, okay, now what is the problem? American comics, while I have my preference for trades and omnibus collections, it's more of a personal preference for me, because if I kept a physical copy of everything that I buy, I would have no room in my house.
Okay.
But, and this is where I think manga is starting to be better and starting to learn from us, is like this right here. I have this collection of Ghost in the Shell. This is all of the original Ghost in the Shell manga. which is Ghost in the Shell, Ghost in the Shell 1.5, and Ghost in the Shell 2. And this, it's bigger than your typical traditional manga, but just like, because people want that authenticity, it reads the same way as a traditional manga. It reads from right to left. And this is the beginning of, the book, even though technically I'm holding it the reverse way, same as you would a manga. If manga can learn from what we do, and American comics can learn from what they do, I think at the end of the day, people just need to calm down and realize that there is nothing new under the sun. Everything that you think is new is old. Nas said it best. No idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do. It's how it's done. The same stories, like I see people when My Hero Academia became a big thing. Everybody was freaking out. Oh my God, I've never seen anything like this before. I was like, dude, this is literally just American comics, just with big eyes.
And I think the creator said, he's an X-Men fan.
Yeah, no, the Kohei Horikoshi, he literally has said which characters are inspired by which of his favorite Marvel characters. He's had lots of X-Men characters that are like, literally one of his most popular characters is legit just a male version of Oya. Like 100%.
The hot cold one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Same thing. And was it Deku is inspired by Spider-Man. Even the way he jumps around is Spider-Man.
More than a tape guy?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that guy, yes. All that stuff, but like the way the Deku, like the poses that he does, and a lot of his mannerisms and personality, a lot of it is it's not to say like, the quippiness of Spider-Man, but like the core personality of Spider-Man is in Deku. And a lot of people always act so surprised by it. I'm like, dude, it's like it's so obvious. Like
the storyline is right now. The anime is that when Deku kept fighting and nonstop. That's a Spider-Man storyline when he just couldn't stop and
he had to keep going
and he passed out. Yeah.
No, he literally had to keep going, otherwise it's over. And I tell people this all the time. Like, I'm a huge fan of Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, and stuff like that. And I read, they're the same show. They're the same. I'm gonna tell you what. The only difference is that Denji is a bigger pervert than Yuji, but for completely different reasons. All the characters have the same damn trajectory. Like I have told people, I legit the other day was talking to somebody about something that was going on in Chainsaw Man, and not even thinking about it, I started talking about Jujutsu Kaisen. Like I started talking about something, like it was the same thing, but there were some details I said that were from Jujutsu Kaisen, not from Chainsaw Man. And when I thought about it, I was like, they are the same damn show. They are the same. They follow. It's the shonen. Like I said, I tell people all the time, man, look, it's okay to think that anime and manga gives you something you've never seen before, but don't sit here and pretend that all these stories don't do this the exact same. Like when people say, oh man, Naruto's not original. The idea of trying to be the best thing or the greatest thing that your show's about, that's literally every shonen manga. It's One Piece. It's Fairy Tail. It's even Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, Pokemon. Like it's being the best. And then having a rival and I gotta go train to become the best. That's literally every anime ever in the history of ever. There's nothing new or original about any of that.
I like Dr. Stone. It's pretty original.
Well, I'll give you that one. But by and large, manga, and once again, I'm more specifically talking about shonen manga. They all do about damn near the same thing. The thing that will separate them though is it's the seasoning that's added to the story that is to make it different. Like I always tell people that when everyone was hyped for Bleach, I was like, oh yeah, Bleach. kind of looks like a Yu Yu Hakusho type show to me. Because that was my thing, was Yu Yu Hakusho. And I was like, oh, this just looks like Yu Yu Hakusho with less steps. I was like, yeah, and then when Jujutsu Kaisen came out, I said, oh, this is basically like if Yu Yu Hakusho and Naruto and maybe some other random anime like got splish splashed together. And I was like, it's the same energy. It's the same thing. You're not giving me anything different. Like, it was why I was resistant to the idea of watching Solo Leveling, because I was like, oh, this is just another isekai.
I mean,
there's like 30 of those, but Solo Leveling's good. It's good.
Well, funny thing about that, I watch it, I tolerate it's good, but watching that made me think of a concept right from my own book. I don't want to spill it, but it was like I feel like that concept would work better as an American comic book than a manga. Like, just imagine like the stuff he can do. That's an easy character building step, because with him, he just got overpowered. But as an American comic, that can be a progression. Him going up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, I totally jive with it, because like that's what I do when I play video games. I power level the hell out of myself to the point the game is no longer fun. It's like, now it's like, oh wow, I grinded too much. Now I'm like 20 levels higher than everything else in the game. So I guess I'm just gonna steamroll the rest of this. Like I totally understood it. The second that I started watching it, I was like, oh, I get what this is. But yeah. And it's once again, it's not to say every story comes from somewhere. And anyone who's ever worked in Hollywood for any stretch of time will probably tell you that when you have to pitch something to somebody, you're going to use those words I used a lot. You're going to say, oh, well, this is my story is so-and-so story meets this. Or like, like case in point, if you wanted to go in and say, hey, I have a story. It's Solo Leveling, but it's in America, and it's not going to be about fantasy games. It might be about first-person shooters. Like, that's how you, like, if you were in a Hollywood pitch meeting, that's how you would, like, if you wanted to get it picked up, that's how you would have to pitch it. Like, you'd have to pitch it in a way that anyone who's listening to you say it can immediately grab a hold of it and keep going.
Okay.
And that's that and it's not just Hollywood. That's even in comics. A lot of creators I've talked to have said the same thing. You'd be like, okay, well, this is my story. This is X-Men, but instead of them being like hated and feared, because people are just fear what they don't understand, but they fear them because these people are actually problematic.
No, okay.
Yeah, or like when I would pitch Go-Go Loser Ranger people, I say, oh, it's if you took Megamind but mixed it with the boys, but then added it in a Power Ranger style universe. Like that's how all stuff gets pitched. And it sounds reductive, but it's that way for a reason. It is 100% that way for a reason.
Okay. Speaking of pitching stuff, earlier in the show, you spoke about you're an aspiring comic book creator.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Why are you aspiring? Like, what's holding you up?
So, time. Time is the enemy of all creativity. So I have been writing for a long time. I've been drawing for a long time, and I took breaks from it. But recently, in the last year, I actually gave myself a challenge, and I said, I want to create something, or actually, no, not a year, technically 2 or 3 years, but I only really started working on it in the last year. But over 3 years, I had been kind of workshopping an idea, and I was building a character Bible, and I was like, okay, this is I was like a massive Word document that's literally everything there is to know about the thing that I'm making a thing about. And eventually I said, you know what? I want to make this, I want this to be a real thing. And we jokingly, Air July's name came up, and I was like, man, you know what? I was like, if that clown can make a comic book, I have no excuse. I was like, I literally have no excuse. I was like, I know too many people in the industry. I am, and not to sound conceited, I was like, I am very talented. I recognized my talent, and I was like, there's the only thing that's holding me back from making the thing that I want to make is me. And I was like, I don't care if it makes $1 million. I don't care if it's universally well received. I just want to be able to say that I sat down, I wrote the thing, and at the time drew the thing, and the thing has happened. The follow-up on that is that I wrote the first issue, actually the first 2 issues of a comic, and I drew pretty much damn near all of the first issue myself, penciled and inked. And but towards the end of the process, I realized that while I actually, like, and anyone I showed it to thought it was really good, and I wouldn't even tell them that it was me. I wouldn't even tell them that it was me that made it. I'd be like, oh, hey, check this thing out and see, like, what you think about it. And it was universally received pretty well, but I wanted it to look better. I wanted it to look better than what I could do. And trying to write and draw something at the same time, it's actually a lot more difficult than people might think. So I reached out to a friend of mine who lives in Memphis, also is a comic writer and artist. And I said, hey, would you be willing to help me bring this to life? So now we are working together to make a kind of like a preview, like a little short 5-page little preview to the comic. And then once we put that out, we are going to be full steam ahead on making the first issue for that comic.
Okay.
And I don't want to say a whole heap of a lot about it. The best thing I'll say, the thing I will say, because I've actually talked about it, some small doses. It is effectively, we'll use the Hollywood pitch meeting deal. Mm-hmm. So imagine you were watching a show like Supernatural, but it took place in Memphis, and instead of it being 2 brothers working together to fight supernatural forces, it's just one brother. And it's because he has no brothers, he's an actual brother. And like mix in some Constantine, some Doctor Strange, some Dylan Dog, and all the other stuff, but like but by way of Mayor of Kingstown.
Okay.
And that is the story that I'm creating.
Okay. All right. Don't want you to say too much, so
No, like that. Like honestly, when I told my artist that pitch, mm-hmm. and then finally gave him the character Bible, so he could read the story and kind of see where I was going, his exact response was, he's like, "You undersold this shit." So I was like, okay, all right. That was like, so that's my way to say it without like, giving away any major story details or any of that.
Okay, cool. Well, that's all. Let me see. That's all I got.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one short question.
Go ahead, shoot.
Independent books. How come y'all skim over independent books?
So I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a reason why, and I feel like I'm the only person who's willing to say it out loud. Mm-hmm. It is because they don't drive traffic.
Okay.
I had this argument with someone online, and without going into the deeper functions of it, but they basically tried to tell me that, oh, you don't prop up indie comic artists and writers. And here's the thing, I actually do, but YouTube doesn't show you that. Like I on the Blerd Cave that I stream live every Saturday, mm-hmm. I've had tons of indie comics writers, artists come on and talk about their comic. And the reason why I prefer to do interviews with those people as opposed to like just showing you their comic as if I was doing any other video about X-Men is because I want you to have a reason to read that comic.
Just like what I do, right?
Yeah. I would want you to have a reason to like to leave something to the imagination. Like I actually have done some videos more recently. Like there are videos that I have that are coming out for books like Philadelphia, but I've done those technically aren't indie books, but I mean they're more like creator owned stuff. Mm-hmm. But I've done stuff for books like Bitterroot. I've done some other stuff as well, but like I typically skip over them because a lot of times, if I put up like, here's the thing. If I post a video that is about X-Men, no matter how uninteresting that video might be to a casual person, that video is going to get anywhere from 5 to 10,000 to 20,000 views. If I put out a video about somebody's indie comic, whether it's through Dark Horse or Oni Press or like self-published, or if they get it on Image Comics, I'm gonna tell you right now, that is probably only going to get about maybe 1,000 views at best. Which, I mean, that's helpful to those people. It's not really helpful to me.
Yeah.
And I've taken the stance I've generally taken on it is that I'm actually kind of okay with that, but I've just decided that I would rather the people who made it talk to my audience.
Okay.
And tell them why, because I feel that's more effective. I feel like it's honestly it's more effective and it comes off more genuine and more honest. And I feel like, yeah, you're gonna buy X-Men and Batman and Superman and whatever. You're gonna buy all that stuff anyway. Let's be honest. It doesn't matter what I say. But a comic you've never heard of before, and I see this all the time in comic shops. I see people all the time in my comment section saying, man, I just wish somebody did something different. And in the same breath, walk up to the counter, put 12 copies of Batman on the counter, 10 copies of X-Men, 8 copies of Superman, 16 copies of Wonder Woman, 12 copies of Teen Titans, and
you not see nobody put Wonder Woman on the counter.
hey, now that Tom King's writing it, I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. Look, I tell people all the time, a lot of people think I only just recently started hanging with Wonder Woman, but I will always be the first to hold up this copy of Gail Simone's Wonder Woman. I've been rocking with Diana for a long time. But yeah, no, I tell people all the time, it's people are not fast to take a chance on something new. So I would rather those people get to hear from that person why you should check out their stuff. And usually I get a lot of positive feedback from it, not just from the viewers, but even from the people I talk to. So yeah, that is why I do what I do there. And who's to say that maybe there wouldn't be one book that might catch a lot of people's attention. Maybe. But it's one of those things. I feel that once people kind of get a chance to know who the artist is, who the writer is, whoever's working on it, I feel like they're more inclined to want to check it out.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I got. That's all I got for that. That was good. That's gonna make some good content. But
no problem. Anytime.
I think I forgot his name. Well, Comment Story. I can't think of his name.
Benny. Yeah.
I think he done said it straight up, like you said. Like he would. He reads a lot of indie books, but he's not on his channel because of Yeah, but I think he said it before, but oh
yeah, I have a lot of people think that I only read Marvel. I there's always people like, oh, Blerd only reads X-Men. He doesn't read anything else.
You get paid on the table to read it,
right? But here's the thing, though. I can't really show you everything that's up here. I mean, some of the first books you might see, there's some X-Men stuff up here, but I have the entire omnibus collection of the IDW Ninja Turtles. I have all 3 compendiums of Invincible. I have 3 of the available deluxe hardcovers of Saga from Image Comics. I have the this right here. This is one of the crown jewels of my collection. We only find them when they're dead, which isn't even from Marvel or DC. This is Boom Studios.
Yep.
I also am a huge fan. Once again, Bitterroot right here.
Yep.
Right here, baby. Like I said, I got 2 of the.
No, something to kill our children. You don't got that?
No. Oh, no. Look here. Make no mistake.
Oh, okay. Oh,
something's killed. Actually, this right here, and please believe the second book 2, It is already pre-ordered and on Amazon. Philadelphia, right here. I love Philadelphia. Like this is the stuff I live for. The nice house on the lake. Nobody talks about this book. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah,
book.
one book I'm looking for is Black.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, actually, I don't know if I have it up here right this second. It might be on my other shelf, but that one, because back when that was on Kickstarter, I backed that one.
Oh man!
And I got all the digital stuff, but the actual like physical book, I have it. I think it's on the shelf behind me somewhere.
Okay,
but I read I always tell people I read so many comics. If I actually could afford to pay someone to edit all my videos where all I had to do is just read the comic and then turn on the camera like I'm talking to you right now and just say the words, if I didn't actually have to edit the comic, if I had the money to do it, you would probably get somewhere in the neighborhood of like 20 videos, 30 videos from me a week.
Dang.
If that were actually economically viable. But like every week, I usually read somewhere in the neighborhood of like 30, 40, 50 comics. And that's just American stuff. Like I read I've been reading 20 chapters of Demon Slayer a night the last 2 weeks, give or take.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to get caught up to the end. I actually have the entire collection of Demon Slayer behind me. I have the entire, well, not the entire, but I have like half of the what's available for My Hero Academia. And I read Chainsaw Man. I read all these chapters. Like I'm playing through all of these, reading through all of these. So like I tell people, like I read a lot. Like it's not like I don't want anyone to think that like oh Blerd just read X-Men this week and he's done. No, I read a lot.
Okay. All right. To close the show out, last segment is called Digging in the Crates. Another dopamine term, So I
used to DJ, so.
Oh, it's okay. So yeah, I'm gonna so you're a band member and DJ. Man, that's crazy. So
vocalist for a heavy metal band, and I used to DJ solo.
So that's why you beef with that guy so much, huh?
Yeah, probably. No, actually, well, I will say this. Yeah, his band is still around, but from a technical standpoint, I would say his music is garbage. My band actually played real music.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna dig through this interview, pull out something, so people leave out, digging through the crates, digging through the old, X-Men books, and then finding them old cards and finding old music, finding something in this interview to pull it from, and I didn't talk about it though. But if you had an opportunity to start like right now doing comic videos, would you stay on YouTube or would you go through the TikTok wave?
Man, honestly, TikTok I like. Man, it's debatable whether that platform is going to be around much longer. So I don't know.
Well, you go to Mexico, they'll still have it. America.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Well, I tell you what. Knowing what I know about today's political climate and the legislation right now surrounding TikTok, I would just stick with YouTube.
Okay.
I would just stick with I would maybe do like Instagram. Maybe I would probably do more like something like Instagram. And I am currently banned from Facebook for reasons I have no idea why. So I would not use Facebook. But I would actually probably be closer to using Instagram or post videos. Yeah, like doing like reels and whatnot.
Shorts.
Shorts on YouTube. And I would even, and I've actually thought about this. I don't know why I don't. Well, no, because it would require me to pay Elon Musk money, and I refuse to do that. I would consider if I could make it economically viable for myself, I would consider posting videos on Twitter. Because, but once again, that would require me to pay Elon Musk $8.99 a month, and I just. No, I'm not giving him a dime.
Okay. I get it.
I refuse. It is a moral principle I have not to pay that man any money.
Okay. And going back, time machine wise, I know you're starting to write and whatnot. If you can start writing in a different era, like golden age, silver age, modern age, whatever. What age do you pick to put your book in?
Man, that's a tough one because I'm gonna be honest with you. It would have to be. It wouldn't be that far from now because the industry was incredibly prejudiced and racist towards black writers and artists. So if I did, the earliest I'd probably come in is the 90s. That's the earliest. And that's just because I would, if I could have angled it just right, I could have gotten in on like early Milestone with cats like Dwayne McDuffie and Dennis Cowan and MD Bright, so on, so on and so forth. God rest his soul. And maybe I could have taken it further from there, but yeah, like I would not do like the golden age, silver age. Like I wouldn't, like, as much as I love guys like Chris Claremont, and Neil Adams and so on and so forth. The era that they were at the height of their powers was an era that was not very friendly to black people in the comics industry. So I'll wait till Dwayne is in. When Dwayne McDuffie's in, put me in right there so I could just slide right into Milestone.
Yeah, he left the door before you, so you just slide right in. Huh?
Yeah, just hey man, I was here the whole time. Don't ask why I'm not on the payroll.
That's dope. That's dope. With that being said, that's all I got. It's been dope. Appreciate you coming on, talking to me. We did almost a cool 2 hours,
Oh, I wasn't even watching the clock, so there you go.
Yeah, but
it was fun. It flew by.
The people who don't know who you are want to follow you. Of course, they can't follow you on Facebook, but where can they follow you at? And what's your video schedule too?
Oh, so I post videos. Man, it's kind of haphazard, not gonna lie, but I generally tend to post videos on Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays, sometimes Mondays and Tuesdays. It's honestly just kind of throughout the week, but I just, as I like to tell people, if you click the subscribe button, go to youtube.com/Blerd Without Fear. And if you click the subscribe button and tap that notification bell, make sure you turn it on to get notifications for every video, because sometimes I just post videos at random times. But generally speaking, you are guaranteed videos from me on Thursdays and Fridays. The other videos just kind of depends on what else I have cooking. And I live stream every Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And on Thursdays, I live stream, and that is from 7 p.m. Eastern to like 5 or 4 4 p.m. Pacific or whatever. I never can remember that, but yeah. And that's Saturday is Blerd Cave, Thursdays is Nerds of Culture, and we're probably talking about something that you may care about. Usually.
All right. That's dope. And once again, man, thanks for coming on, man. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem.